Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Goffey and Tony Mason there. No, thanks. Really, thanks, lads, for wasting 9 minutes of my life.
No, I'll tell you something else really interesting
Not
about
with
this
a
whole...
kitchen knife sticking through your neck, you won't.
No, seriously, during the war, what happened...
No, not James May on the war, please.
Yeah, we can have a look. The trouble is, when you tend to go into a building owned by Stalin, you rarely come out again.
Now, last week you saw Richard Hammond driving a six-wheeled Mercedes-Benz, but did you know they made another six-wheeled car long before that one? Would you like to see a picture of it?
Love to.
Here it is.
Oh, right.
Did they not mention this, then?
Do you know they didn't?
How odd.
It is, isn't it? Because Mercedes like to go on about their heritage and history, and they didn't mention that one.
Well, perhaps they didn't mention it because it's got Hitler in it.
I don't know.
That's not Hitler.
It is.
It isn't. No, that car was built long before indicators were invented, so he's just there to do some hand signals.
Really? What signals are you doing there, then, James?
He's saying, take the Third Reich.
Ow!
Try the chicken.
Oh, no, hang on a minute, though. It says alternative target, Chipsky Norton there.
Chipsky Norton.
I think it must be damp.
And we begin tonight with probably the best piece of news I've ever heard since I was born. An event, in fact...
Don't.
...which eclipses the very miracle of my birth.
Hang on, the best piece of news you've ever heard ever.
What is it?
They're going to stop making the Beetle.
And that's it? That's not the new
That is fantastic. No,
It's not
the
that
old
good,
one.
is it?
They're still making it till the 30th of July, and then it stops forever.
And why is that so
Why
good,
do you
really?
hate it so much?
Do you really want me to do it?
Well, no, just... I can't... I mean,
OK, it's a rubbish car.
That's incisive.
That's the first thing. It's a rubbish car. Secondly, it was a scandal. OK, that car was stolen from a Czech bloke called Ledwinka, I think, by Hitler and his henchmen. They put it into production. They stole money off the German people to build it and to build a factory. They never got a car. Instead, they used the factory and slaved Russian labour from the Eastern Front to build V1 bombs.
You can't blame the poor little Herbie.
And I haven't finished yet.
Oh, here we go.
In the factory, Russian slave labour built V1 flying bombs, one of which landed where my house now stands.
That is the most convoluted reason for
There's
hating...
more.
Oh, no.
Does anybody own a Beetle?
No,
Yes.
nobody's gonna...
Right. Are you happy driving around in a mass murderer's personal biffer bag? You are. Well, what? I mean, I don't understand it. It's completely wrong. Well, actually, we'll do the news in a minute, because first I want to say a couple more things about that Bentley. You see, you said there it was like a slab of old England.
Yes.
But Bentley is owned by VW.
Yeah.
That car was styled by a Belgian, and it was engineered by a man called Ulrich Eichhorn. Doesn't sound very British.
Are you
does it?
presenting Top Gear, or are you writing a letter to the Daily Telegraph?
Well, I'm just saying that you know immediately that that car is German because it's got too much power. They've overdone it, as usual, like they did on their French holiday in 1939.
James, the Queen is German, but
Yes.
you don't sing Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles every time she comes on the television, do you?
Well, I do, actually.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So there we are.
Something,
What?
Before we go on, is that actually a supercharger?
No, that's an oil cooler made to look like a supercharger, so it looks like a blower Bentley.
So this isn't a supercharged engine?
No, it isn't.
But a Spitfire's Merlin was supercharged.
I know, but this one isn't.
So that's technically the Meteor, which was the same engine, but the land-based version. Which
Yes.
was the unsupercharged.
Yes.
And this, obviously, the Bentley...
Yes, I'm sorry, James. Once
again.
again, we don't have time for your lecture on all aeroplanes since 1941.
The real problem is obviously that between now and when you're watching this, really anything could have happened. Somebody could have invented a car that, I don't know, runs on jelly. We might have declared war with France.
There's a new TV show in Germany. It's all about cars, and it's hosted by 3 people.
I can't imagine where they got that idea from.
Yeah.
No idea. Anyway, they got in touch with us, and they invited us to take them on in a series of races and challenges.
Now, obviously, we needed somewhere to stage this.
Yes, I suggested we did it in the skies over southern England.
In fact, we settled on Belgium, which was a country invented so that Britain and Germany would have somewhere to sort out their differences.
And on that point, the producers told us, now listen, you're representing the BBC. You can't just turn up and go on about the war.
We're on our own, we're playing for time, and it's running out.
We might have overdone this.
Oh, it could be worse. Could have come in the back of Bobby Charlton.
That is really weird, though, isn't it? What started
Listen.
in here.
I've broken Stalin's house. Jeez, I'm going to the gulag.
James!
Broken Stalin's house. Really, the car is the only solution.
For now, yeah.
And now it's getting to the point where nobody can really afford to fill them up with fuel.
To be brutally honest, the only real solution to keeping fuel prices down is population control.
What, we nuke China?
No, not
James May's fuel price solution.
not kill people.
Well, fair enough. Think about it. How many people are there in France?
In France, it's about the same as here,
60
about
million.
60 million.
We don't need all of them, surely.
I'm not talking about a pogrom. I'm talking about limiting the rate at which the population expands.
Oh, no, this is even... So you're saying that because I've got 3 children, I'm causing fuel prices to go up, and because you spill your seed alone, rather than killing everybody in France and not having any babies, how about this for a much better idea to keep fuel prices down? No, individually. What about never brake?
Hang on. The Spitfire.
Yes.
It was the Hurricane that won the Battle of Britain.
Well, it just wasn't.
No, it just was. There were far more of them. It was easier to build. It was easier to repair. It was easier to fly. It was.
But that's like saying that a Nissan Juke is better than a Lamborghini Aventador because it's easier to build and there are more of them.
No, it's not like that at all.
It is.
The Hurricane was a much more stable gun platform in the hands of a novice. The Hurricane accounted for more enemy aircraft than all of our other air defences combined.
Yes.
It won.
But the Spitfire, OK, the Spitfire looked glamorous. So you'd look up from the sky and then that improved morale on the ground because people were going, oh, wow, look at that, we can't possibly lose
Yes,
this.
but morale didn't shoot down enemy aircraft. Hurricanes did.
Yes,
That's
I know, but
simply
if you've got a
fact.
small boy looking out the window, wow, look, there's a Spitfire up there and I'm going to join the RAF. And that's what we need. You want to fly a Hurricane because it looked like a sad basset hound.
No, it didn't look like a sad basset. And anyway, the best fighter aircraft of World War II was the Messerschmitt 109. Everybody knows
Well, that didn't win the Battle of Britain, did it?
Well, to be honest, nobody won the Battle of Britain. It was a draw.
What? Where have you got that from?
Chaps! Hate to make this whole thing sound like, I don't know, a car show, but can we get it back to the Jag a bit? Please?
Yes, because I don't want to talk to him anymore about aeroplanes.
Okay, remember the Jag.
And now we must do the news, and we start off with news that since James drove that Virage, Aston Martin have launched a new car, and here it is. It's called the V12 Zagato. There it is. And James, you'll be particularly interested in this, mate, I think.
Will I?
Yeah, you will. Because the boss of the company was quoted this week as saying, the Nürburgring is where we sign off every new model. Quoting, and there could be no better place for the new V12 Zagato to be finally tested, said the boss of Aston Martin.
For crying out loud. Do you know what? If I'd been in Bomber Command in 1943, I would have bombed the Nürburgring every single night until it was gone. Am I the only person who thinks like this?
This bad back of yours, would you say it makes you a bit crabby?
There's nothing to do with that bad back. I'm not he's got a bad back as well, but he won't agree with me about it.
Okay.
Ride is important.
All right.
Bomb it! It was a bad policy. Look where we are now. We no longer have Dresden Cathedral or all that lovely pottery, but we do have the Nürburgring, and under my bombing policy, we wouldn't have cars that rode badly, and you'd have a nice cathedral to look at and better saucers.
Listen, I'm sure that the Luftwaffe were very proud and pleased with the Messerschmitt ME-109.
That was a damn good aeroplane, actually.
Yes, but it wasn't as good as the Spitfire.
Yeah, you could do negative G in a Messerschmitt
Oh, for
109.
me, he was bad as he is.